Social Development, Dr. Glenn Singh, Honourable Minister John Sandy, Minister of National Security, Honourable Minister Mr. Nizam Baksh, Minister of Community Development, Minister in the Ministry of People and Social Development, Dr. Lincoln Douglas, Dr. Kyla Alvarez Lazo, Assistant Director General, Social and Human Resource, UNESCO, Brother Emerald Gould, President of IRO, Mrs. Christine Sukram, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of People and Social Development, and Deputy Permanent Secretary as well, Mrs. Jacinta Bailey Sobers, staff of the Ministry of People and Social Development, Mr. Reynald Cooper, Head Permanent Secretary of the Public Service, Honourable distinguished ministers from the region and from other countries, members of the Diplomatic Corps, other permanent secretaries, deputy permanent secretaries, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. A very pleasant good morning to one and all, and let me extend my very warm welcome as Minister of Education and President of the Trinidad and Tobago National Commission, and personally to all the delegates attending this year's second UNESCO MOST Forum for ministers responsible for social and sustainable development in the Caribbean and Latin America. It is truly an honor to have you here in our beautiful country, and I trust that you will not only enjoy and benefit from this conference, but also find some time to enjoy the numerous beautiful attractions of our lovely Trinidad and Tobago, from the sights, the beaches, the food, and of course, what we are perhaps most globally renowned for, our cultural, ethnic, and religious diversity. And naturally, this would be an example of the great virtue of tolerance that this forum seeks to promote. Irish Nobel Prize laureate and politician John Hume once said these words that I find very applicable to this conference, which were, and I quote, "Difference is of the essence of humanity. Difference is an accident of birth, and it should therefore never be the source of hatred or conflict. The answer to difference is to respect it. Therein lies the most fundamental principle of peace, respect for diversity." End of quote. When UNESCO passed a resolution at the 27th session of its General Conference in 1993, the Management of Social Transformations Program, MOST, was launched in March 1994 as part of the social and human services sector of the UNESCO. Then it was designed as a research program which aimed at establishing a credible body of knowledge in social science or social science research for policymakers, thereby creating a strong link between research, policy, and practice. In the years that followed in that decade, where genocide in most countries across the globe became so prevalent, it became even more necessary for such a program to be promoted by a global body like the United Nations, and now UNESCO. Since then, the MOST program has come up with a variety of information, all reliable, timely, and indeed critical about the Latin American and Caribbean region. As ministers of government, as well as social practitioners who are charged with responsibility of promoting democracy in its truest forms of justice and social equity, we stand to tremendously benefit from these findings, which, when discussed, analyzed, and compared in this forum, which aptly affords us the ability to properly explore and appropriately use to our social, political, and economic advantages our diversity in religious or different religions, cultures, and ethnicities. This year marks the second UNESCO Management of Social Transformation MOST Forum of Ministers of Social and Sustainable Development in the Caribbean. And for the next 3 days, we will all confer under the theme, Promoting Equity and Social Inclusion, Pathways to Prosperity for All. We aim to ensure that the regional public authorities, policymakers, social science researchers, and representatives of civil society, including international development agencies, in attendance here today, will use this opportunity to discuss developmental challenges and the best practices which can assist in engendering a stronger, unified regional body. I wish all participants the absolute best in achieving these goals, since it is imperative for our countries that we do. And it is my hope that as leaders of our societies, we will find in this forum and beyond the inherent knowledge and recognition of the fact that harmony, peace, and tolerance within our internal nations and societies is the essential first step to achieving peace in the world. Let us thus always remember that once we can summon and perfect the very necessary virtue of goodwill to all, then we have the ability to achieve that great global village where our natural differences in culture, ethnicity, or religion do not separate us from each other, but rather engenders within us collective strength, which not only benefits all of humanity, but bless us all as the human race with a shared value of peace that is nourished by the ethnic, national, and local diversities that enrich our lives. Thank you, and may God continue to bless us all.